So let's discuss some advanced topics in Redis Cache, integration with Spring Boot. Also, we will discuss some production level understandings and its problems. So let's jump into my IDE screen. Here, the first component is application.yaml file. Here, I am mentioning some configurations. The first configuration is data source URL, username and password. The second one is for the Redis server credentials. This is the local host, port and timeout. And also I mentioned to print the SQL queries to track them. The second component is form.xml. Here I am using Spring Boot version 3.5.11 and Java version I'm using 17. And these are the dependencies I'm using. The first dependency is starter web to enable the endpoints. The second one is data Redis to enable cache. The third one is data JPA to connectivity with my MySQL. And this is a connector dependencies. Test dependencies optional. And the last one is Lombok to enable getter setters, auto generated and getter setters, these stuff. And so let's discuss the first topic. This is the problem when we are trying to save the cache in Redis server. It is forces us to implement the serializable interface. So why it is forcing us to implement the serializable interface? So whenever we are give we are giving the object to the Redis server, we have to mention like what type of data we are providing to Redis. So internally, the JDK serializer is used to serialize the object and provide the binary format to Redis. So if we are not implementing this serializable interface, we will get the exception. So let's start the server, and suppose I'm taking the inventory class. I'm removing the serializable interface. So let's see. So as you see, my server started normally, but when I try to save some, suppose I'm trying to access some API, so I'm getting 500 error. So this is my customer service. This is the previous service. This is the everything is the same as previous video. If you didn't watch my previous video, go and watch. And this is the method I'm trying to get information of inventory. So when I try to get information, I'll get success getting the information. But when it is trying to save the object to the Redis server, it is the serializable is not implemented. So the JDK serializer class is not able to convert this object to binary format. So that is why we are getting this exception. So basically, there are two ways to resolve this problem. So first is we can simply implement the serializable interface to our entity class. So internally, all the operation will be handled by JDK serializer. But in production level, we are using the JSON serializer. So we will tell that Redis server that we want this object as saved as a JSON format, not the binary format. So this is the first problem. The second problem is we can't allow our Redis servers to hold outdated data. So whenever the updation will be happen into our table, the cache should always update it. So how we will do that? Let's create some configuration and let's see how we will achieve that. So I'm creating one class that is config. Here I will create one configuration annotation. Also I will create bean annotation. I will return cache manager, return some null, where I will add some factory. So what we will try to override the default configurations. This is the Redis cache configuration. We need to override this. Dot. First, we have to add entry TTL, which is time to live. Here, what we will do, we will add some durations of 30 seconds. Along with, I need to add some serialization. We need to tell Redis that you need to use JSON serialization, but not the binary serialization. So how we will do that? First, I will add that the context, that is serialization context. Then I will add the serialization pair. Then from serializer, here I will add the generic JSON to JSON ready serializer class. That's it. So what we did here is, so this is the, we have created one configuration object, Redis Cache configuration. We are trying to override the default configurations. First, I have added this entry time to live seconds, which is 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, automatically the cache data will be deleted. And this one I have added to tell Redis that we are using JSON serializer, but not the binary serializer, default serializer. Or I will build this as the Redis factory dot cache defaults. In cache default, I need to pass this configuration and I will create object. So simply this, I just override this factory and add new cache policies here and creating that object and return that. So let's see, we will get exception or not. Let's see, it is a problem. Connection refused. Okay. My Redis server is not started. Let me start my Redis server. I'm using Docker. So let me run that Redis server. Run. This is my port. Yes, this is the right port. If you see, my Redis server is started. Okay, let's try to save the cache. Okay, I will get it. I'm getting the result. This is my 500 ID, product name, category, and quantity. So first time, if you see, the query is fired and the data is coming from the database. Now let's delete that log and send again. I'm not getting the query fired. So this is how we will use that the time to live second and serializable. So now let's wait for 30 seconds. Before that, let's see that the saved cache data. I am using the Redis CLI. I'm getting the ping result. Let's see the saved keys. Data is empty. Let's see again. The query is fired. I can see the data in my Redis server. Let's wait for 30 seconds. Automatically it will wipe out. Yeah. If you see, data automatically wiped out. So here one production problem is how when thousands of millions of users has saved cache data. So if all are expired at the same time, so data load will be get heavier. So to improvise that, we need to create some random number. Into that, I will create till 30. So suppose I will add this one till 60 second. It is minimum will save the data, cache the data, and after that randomly it will add the number and save the data for particular user so that all the user are not getting expired at the same time. So our database load will not get so much heavier. This is the first problem. This is the problem solutions for this serializable and the time to live seconds. The second one we are going to discuss about this how we will cache the data if it is coming from the query. So let's create one method. I am creating one query. Suppose I am passing the value which is select I from inventory I where I dot product name is equal to name. Similarly, I will create one method get get inventory by name. Here I will pass string name and I will call this method. I will returning the inventory inventory by name return inventory repository dot inventory by name and passing the name, passing the string name I will create one get mapping. Get inventory by name. Here I will add one path variable is name. Response entity I will return from my controller. Get inventory by name. I will add the path variables, which is value is name, string name, and simply I will return the response entity, which is inventory type. Customer service dot. So I need to add some HTTP status code dot. So this is my endpoint, this is my service, and this is my repository method. Before that, I need to add one annotation name cacheable. Inside, I need to add value name is inventory, and key I need to pass here is the name. Because we are passing the name as key. So let's start my server. Okay, my server is started. Let's call the service by name. Here I will add the name product 500. If you see, my data is coming from the table, and let's delete that log, and again I'm hitting the data, I'm hitting the API, and I'm not getting data from the database. Now I'm getting it from cache. Let's see. If you see, my inventory product 500 is the key and it is saved. Let's wait for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, it should be wiped out. If you see, the data is wiped out. So this is the today's topics for that advancements of Redis Cache, how we will implement the time to live seconds, and how we will implement the JSON serializer. And also we have seen the working with the query. So this is the topic for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for watching.